today's video, talk about the Sporty. Some of the things that we've done. I don't believe we've ever actually done a proper introduction for the Sportster other than, hey guys, we picked up a Sportster, and for the exhaust video. But today we're going to be talking in depth on the setup that we're running, starting from the front of the bike, working our way back, and touching base on all the stuff that we have, as well as for the reason for why we set it up this way, and some plans for the future, which isn't much, but let's dive right in. So first thing is going to be why we're setting it up this way. Essentially, we picked up the Sportster last March, thanks to Richard over at Central Texas Harley-Davidson for finding this heck of a deal on the Sportster. He knew that we were in the market for a Sportster, not looking to spend a whole lot of money to get into one. This one happened to hit the lot. He hit me up saying, hey dude, it's going straight to auction. Let me know if you're interested. Sure enough, low mileage, price was right. We went overhead and snagged it, and this is what we got. It's a little different than when we first got it. It had some hideous Z-bars. The wiring was a nightmare, but thank you to Will FXDF for helping me out with that. Huge savior for that one. Also learned a few things on how to solder, put wiring together, extend your wires, because I was extremely new at that, didn't have the confidence, and watching them work and help me kind of get my hands dirty with that, helped provide that, and now we were able to shorten the length of one of the wiring on one of the hand controls for one side, as well as extend the wiring on our lowrider. So the reason we ended up getting the Sportster was because we were trying to get into wheelies, trying to get comfortable, trying to get into it, etc. Trying to start dabble in wheelies just because they look so wicked. Now this has been something that we've been interested in since when we first started the channel. Now our progression is not exactly where we hoped it would be, but we're having fun with it, we're learning, we're progressing. That's the only thing I'm looking for, is just some sort of progression. But now it's time to really kick it into high gear. Now, what do most people say when you are looking to get into wheelies? It's obviously going to be the tires and then the clutch. That's pretty much it, like your clutch disc, etc., all that nonsense. But the one thing is going to be the tires. One thing that people swear by is going to be the Shinko 777s, which is what we have front and rear. And Theo Freaking Door is also one of the testaments to that, is that he's been popping wheelies for a hot minute on his lowrider, I think for a year or 2 years now. And he was running the Dunlops and some other tires. Can't really speak as to specifics, but once he got the Shinko, he said it was night and day difference. And a lot of times when you run a certain tire, you have to drop the PSI real low in order to pop up that front wheel a whole lot easier. And he said with the Shinkos, he can do it at full pressure and just comes up no problems whatsoever. We, on the other hand, still have to drop PSI somewhat good amount, but with the Shinkos, what we run mostly in the rear, most often than not, is going to be 20 PSI. Right now it's sitting at 39 because we had to blast down the highway down to South Austin for the hand-built show and wanted to feel comfortable and safe that the rear tire wouldn't have any issues. When running lower PSI, I always feel that the bead is going to break and then just air is just going to fly out, get wobbles, and worst case scenario, go down. But right now we're running 39, still hooked up a little bit here, running down to the spot. Obviously, where the height that we're getting is a little different than what most people who are veterans at this getting, but we're getting there. And so I really like how sticky the Shinkos are. As for the brake systems, the rotors, they're still stock rotors, stock brake pads, nothing fancy on that. We are running the Black Sox Mafia shock socks here in the front, courtesy of Kyle. Thank you, man, much appreciated. And as for the headlight, we are running the Daymaker from the Dyna. The Dyna's still living on here, as well as the foot pegs, but we'll get to that a little later. So we have the Daymaker. Previously we ran an Amazon headlight, and those are hit and miss, but the one that we got was an extreme miss, where it was pretty much having one of those Christmas LED lights that hang on the Christmas tree to light up the whole road at night. We didn't run it at night too often than not, but at a certain point we started riding this more throughout town, more frequently, and we'd get caught out at dusk and night, and we wouldn't be able to see anything, which also means that people were probably not likely to see us. So we ended up swapping it out for the Daymaker. I'm digging it. I'm glad I did it. Now I can run day or night with no issues whatsoever. Now, for the risers, I want to give a huge shout out to Dynamite Crew for sending these out. I'm definitely digging the way they look and continue the accent of the silver or the chrome throughout the rest of the bike. Previously, we had the Biltwell Murdoch riser pullbacks in 8 inches. As well as with these, we're not running an odometer. With the Biltwells, we were running an odometer because we had a T-bar mount that was able to sit a little lower because we still had the stock wiring on the odometer and we weren't able to put it at the top of the risers. Same issue with this, but that LA Confidential, LA something choppers T-bar mount does not work with these since these are squared off. And so we just decided not to run an odometer. We looked at extending the wiring, but that was about 40 bucks. We said, you know what, we can get an app on our phone and we know how fast we're going. As for the fuel light, that's a little trickier. We pretty much just open up the gas cap, look inside. If it's lower than to what I can see, I'll just go ahead and fill it up depending on where I'm at. I know when I need to get gas, but essentially it's every 75 miles is what I go for. Most Sportsters are 80 to 100, but since adding that sprocket, I'm not sure if it's because we're at the higher rev ranges that it's eating up more gas, so we're just taking that to account. So we're saying 75 miles at being the point to fill up. And going distances, I know more or less how far I am. Oh, this is 25 miles away, so there and back I should be good, and I'll top off when I get home. So we're running that. We're running the Biltwell tracker bars, the low bend. So we're sitting at about 9 inches for the overall bar setup. And as for the hand controls, everything is stock except for the levers. They're still stock, but what we end up doing is shaving off the side so we have custom shorty levers. We have the Biltwell Torquer grips here. Now moving a little farther back, we have the Arlen Ness Big Sucker. This is a stage 1, although we did go with the upgraded mesh air filter. So there's that. It's straightforward. Again, we get with chrome. I like the pop. So to match with the chrome and pair it, accent it, we have the Vance & Hines grenades. Brother, they're loud, dude. I like them ripping throughout the city because it sounds real aggressive. Sounds like I'm really getting after it. Paired with that 65.2 sprocket, it's just ripping and roaring. Now, that being said, on the highways, this being 5-speed and 883, I'm a 200-pound son of a biscuit. This thing is screaming, trying to move me up and down the highway at just that just monotone, just screaming in my ear. It can get tiring after about 20-30 minutes. I'm ready to get off the bike, give my ears a break. Otherwise, I'm going to end up coming out with tinnitus. But I do like the way it sounds. I love the chrome. And here we have foot pegs. These are the Flow Motorsport foot pegs in red from the Dyna. Dyna lives on again here. I like the grip that they provide. Wet, dusty, etc. conditions, you get something on your foot, your boots are muddy, they're still going to grip to the foot pegs. Now, everything in the motor is still stock. We have yet to do any upgrades. We plan to do the 1200 conversion kit as well as throw in some cams, maybe bore out the heads, but for the most part 1200 conversion and cams just to get a little bit more power. That way we're not really struggling, and eventually kind of do a little tracker style to it just because I like the way it looks, and maybe next year Handbuilt will enter the hooligan track race just for shenanigans and just mess around, just crash into a bunch of people into the barriers. We have the Biltwell Stiletto shocks, 13.5 inches here for the rear. We were initially going to go with the Fox shocks, $1,400. Then we said, not sure I want to spend the amount on shocks that the whole bike costs, more or less. So we said, you know what, let's just hold off on that. I've seen a lot of people run on their bikes, no issues. They pop wheelies left and right. So we figured, all right, that does the job. So we went ahead and got them. Now, to protect all this, we have the Bunk King frame sliders here in the rear. This is the 6-inch option in the back, and we have the Bunk King crash bar up front. Now, they come with spacers and a longer bolt that we can run it, and they mount directly to where your shock bolt goes. They replace the shock bolt, and you go with the Allen longer one, throw it in there, and it's sturdy. I like to use it as just a frame of reference. That way, if I need, to pick up the bike when I'm loading it up in the back of the truck, it helps provide something to grip onto. Should you be doing it? Who knows, but it helps. And then up here with the front Bunk King crash bar, it provides a nice little insurance policy. Just that way, if you accidentally tip your bike over, you have something easy to protect it. Should you drop your bike and slide and all that, like this one is, what you can do is just drill out the part where the plastic has gone over the Delrin and just extract the bolt, and then you'll put a new one in. They're about 20 bucks online. You can get it from a bunch of motorcycle shops. You get Bunk King, etc. Now, that being said, there's also Reckless MFG who makes these same style crash bars. Hit them up on Instagram. So the crash bar, just let it down, nice and gently like. And it does its job to protect it. On this side, it is touching the foot peg a little bit, but it gets the job done. It keeps the bike, the goodies protected. That tightens it a little bit more. And to lift it, just pick it up, put your kickstand back down. Now, should it go back on the other side, what you want to do is drop your kickstand. So if it's on the other side, you drop your kickstand, and what you'll do is you'll pick it up from the other side. With this being an 883, it's easy just to get your weight behind it and just lift it like this. But with the bigger bikes, what you'd want to do is when you drop it, you simply previously put the kickstand down the other side. Then what you'll do is you're kind of use your legs to lift the bike, so you'll be at the bottom and you'll grab from the handlebar. And that's the reason why I like these sliders, because it provides another frame of reference. You get it, you pick it up, and then you have your kicks on the other side. But instead of just kind of throwing it over, once you get to pretty much where it's centered, you can go ahead and swap, grab it like this, and set it down gently, and then it'll be back up. The next other thing is going to be the seat. We're running a Saddleman seat thanks to Hardcore Cycles. It's comfortable. It gives you a nice little wall to secure you when you're trying to pop those wheelies. Just, you know, a nice little backrest to go. We have the gripper material here in the back. Keeps you secure. Other than that, just plain leather here, plain stitching on the side. As for the clutch basket, initially we ran the BDL clutch discs. We burned right through those, I think within like 6 months, but that's because we were just riding the hell out of our clutch. Something felt wrong with the clutch near the last couple months, and so that's when I hit up Mark over at Tex Performance, asked him if he could take a look at it. Sure enough, they were burnt to shit, so we ended up swapping out for the Barnett extra plate clutch kit, and it has the 15% stronger clutch spring. But it's weird because it doesn't feel as stiff as the other ones did, and we have plans to also go with the Elite Moto clutch lever, but we'll see. So that's all it is. The Sportster's got 8,000 miles on it. When we first got it, it had about 5,700, 6,000 miles, and now we're sitting at 8,300. So this does not see that many miles quite as the lowrider or the Dyna does. This is mostly just seeing to the local empty streets like this, the little stunt lot, etc. Just that way we can practice our wheelies. Hopefully be dropping some more Wheelie Wednesday videos and more progression. The weather's been on and off. When we were supposed to be ripping and roaring, we had a couple other events. We had a hand built this weekend, so we didn't go rip around and try some wheels. We decided to go out there and see some great people, and as well as some awesome bikes. Finally got to sit on the Indian FTR 1200 as well as see one in action. That's gonna do it for the video, guys. Sportster Squad. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what y'all think of the Sportster. Y'all like it, you hate it? Do you run a Sportster? What was your first bike? Drop in the comment section below, and catch y'all on the next one. Peace.